Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 261. It is August 2nd, which is my brother's birthday.
Yes, it is.
They went to the beach today, I think. And that's all I got. 2015. So
You are.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala. We haven't done this for like 3 weeks. I
Good
need
job.
to.
I know. I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Like Laura mentioned, it's August 2nd. There was some poor planning, I think, on both our parts, or maybe we just sort of unintentionally blacked out the fact that Laura was going on vacation right after SSK, so we weren't going to be able to record for longer than we expected. But you guys moved on. The world kept on spinning, so
It's all good.
yeah, it's fine. We expect this will be a long episode, and also if you don't want to hear about SSK, you might just want to skip this whole episode because SSK just happened. So we'll probably be referencing it as we're talking about things.
Yeah, a little
So,
bit.
but I hope you don't want to skip the episode because SSK
There's
is
a
fun.
lot of knitting and spinning on
Yeah.
the front end, so there's no reason to skip.
I was told that I have to go first because I have
You have all the things, and I have nothing.
in a nice change of pace. I have quite a lot to show, and Laura does not have as much to show because she's been carted across the country in the past couple weeks. And I've been sitting at home. By the way, I bought the best investment ever, and Michael makes fun of me for it, and I don't care because so
So you should explain that Michael's your husband.
Michael is my husband, also
Anyone's a new viewer.
referred to as Mr. Awesome occasionally.
Dyslexiia.
Um,
I have double points. I just threw one.
Laura with dangerous objects. So the way that our bedroom is set up, we have just the mattress. We don't have a box spring, and it's on sort of a lifted frame. So there's a bunch of empty space under it.
Platform, yeah.
Yeah, on a platform. And the frame is metal. I don't know why that's important, but it is. And I've been trying to figure out a way where I can read and knit at the same time.
Oh yeah, your
And
thing.
my tablet is small. My tablet is I brought it to show. It's about the size of an iPad mini. It's an Android device. And I don't want to have to buy another one because this works fine. I basically just use it to browse the internet and read books. That's really the only thing that I use it for, and play games sometimes. But I didn't want to have to buy a bigger one. And I spend a lot of time at home. If I'm knitting, I'm usually sitting in the bed, sitting up against the wall and knitting. So I bought this little thing that clamps onto the frame of the bed, and it's got this like flexible gooseneck thing, and your tablet clips into it. So I'm guessing it's made for like people who are physically disabled or unable to use many things at once. But for me, it works great because it's propped up right there, and I'm knitting and I'm reading, and I can just flip the pages as I go, and it's great, dude. I've gotten so much done. You can laugh all you want. I don't care.
I think it's
It's
hilarious.
wonderful, and I love it. And it's like
Never
30
works.
bucks or something.
Good. Are you gonna put a link to it in the show notes?
I If somebody wants it, just mention it in the thread and I'll find it. I personally think it's great. I just found it on Amazon. Anyway, so I do have knitting. This is a knitting show. The first is I finished one of two because I have 2 feet, so I need 2 socks. And the first of two bootstrap socks. This is a pattern by Laura Neal. Wow, it's showing up super darker on camera. It's got glitter in it. This is a Knitty and Color sock blank. It's just called
Hey,
Blue Black Sock Blank.
there's an update going on tonight.
Yeah, and so it's got this bootstrap pattern. Again, it's really difficult to see in this yarn. A little better there. And the
Is
heel
it
is
like a stitch?
um, it's just garter.
Okay.
Um, and the heel is done in an unusual way. So I haven't tried them on yet, but I know they'll fit me because I did them the same way I do all my own socks.
There you go.
So sock one is finished, and I am 1.5 rows in on sock number two. These are being knit on size 2.25 millimeter US size 1 needles, and this is what the sock blank looks like. And I'm making no effort whatsoever for them to be matching. So
Look at you growing as an individual and becoming more flexible yourself.
I don't remember what the first part looked like, so I can't make it work, make it perfect. So
Oh,
whatever,
there
it'll
you
be
go.
fine. They're going on my feet.
That'll be pretty.
Aside from that, the only other thing that I'm actively working on is a custom fit sweater.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I cast this on a couple months ago. I ripped out a sweater that I didn't wear, but I really liked the yarn, so I wanted to reuse it. And this is Madeline Tosh Sport in the William Morris colorway. This is the back.
It'll be a flattering weight for you.
I hope.
No, it
So
will be.
it doesn't look special because it's just stockinette, except for the bottom is garter, and that's exactly what I wanted to do for my first custom fit, is to make it as plain as possible. I was going to modify and do it in the round, even though the pieces are knit flat, but I decided for the first one I would do exactly what
I
it
feel like
says.
there's an option that allows you to
There
have the
might be.
pieces in the round or flat.
I just didn't look. So,
I know there is for the featherweight.
well, and this was totally custom fit from, I basically
Yeah,
just picked a shape and it did everything.
it did it.
And so it's a V-neck, so this is the front of it. And I finished one sleeve. It's a half sleeve, so it only goes to my elbows, which is exactly what I wanted. So I finished one sleeve.
That's the good thing about custom fit. So let's after you're done showing and talking, let's talk about custom fit a little bit.
And I started the second sleeve. If we were going to record tomorrow, I probably could have finished the second sleeve, but that's okay because I still have to block everything before I seam it anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully next week I'll have a finished sweater and a whole bunch of yardage to throw at Stash Dash.
Yay!
So,
And we'll talk more about Stash Dash later.
yeah. So Custom Fit is software that Amy Herzog and her husband, I think, developed that basically allows you to take any yarn and you knit a gauge swatch, a big gauge swatch, not just your little normal 4x4. You need a big one. And you take that and you do some measurements and you do some very specific body measurements, some honest body measurements, not what you want your bust to be, what your bust actually is.
Yep.
And you plug all of it into this magical piece of software.
And you really need a friend to measure you. Like Leslie and I measured each other, and then Eloise and I are going to do a knit along with each other.
With the featherweight, right?
The featherweight one, and I measured Eloise, and it's actually helpful if you have three people. That's the number 3, because like one person to be measured, one person to be the measurer,
and one to observe.
Well, one to like write down the numbers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It goes faster, and you can actually just, if you have a laptop there, just plug them in as you go.
And it makes sense to have someone else do it because Lynn measured us at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and her numbers against the ones I took of myself are different.
Oh yeah.
So it makes sense to have someone else who's not like, maybe if I just squeeze it a little here, I'll get the number I want. Who's like honest about those numbers
Plus,
to do
like you're changing shapes. If
right.
You're lifting your arms.
Then your size and your width and girth and all that are changing. So
also I would, if you, first off, there are shops around the country that are getting certified through Amy Herzog to become
custom
affiliates,
measurers.
Affiliates,
whatever
maybe.
They are, yeah.
And so they typically charge for that, and the price varies to the store that you're going to, but you might want to look on the website if you want to be measured by someone specific. And they also sometimes give extra help with like gauge swatches and stuff like that. What else was I going to say about that? I don't know. Something very important.
The site is makewearlove.com, and joining the site costs nothing. But you do have to actually join the site and create an account in order to put in your measurements. You only have to put in your measurements once unless something changes and you want to change your measurements.
Oh, that's the other thing. You might want to, anytime you have any changes in your life, you might want to get remeasured,
right.
Like every 6 months or every year. Because my measurements right now are very different than they were a year ago.
Right. I think you can sort of gauge that with how your clothes are fitting. If if the fit of your clothes change, you probably need to get remeasured. And it costs, I don't know exactly, I want to say it's around $10 a pattern. But that is a pattern that is written expressly for you. You don't have to skip any numbers or highlight anything or figure out what applies to you and what doesn't. It's written exactly for you.
And you have to do a gauge swatch before you can get the pattern. but it works with any yarn. Um, the one thing that I didn't like about it is for the pre-made patterns, at least, I want kind of like an estimate of how, because I have various sweater quantities in my stash, and some of them are like 1,200 yards of a worsted, and some of them are 1,600 yards of a worsted. So I'd like a kind of a ballpark from before I do the gauge swatch if that sweater will work. Kind of like you know how Knitbot has that program where you
Yeah,
can,
I can
you see
see
what
where
I'm
you're
saying?
going, but I think it would. I could see why they wouldn't want to provide that until they have the gauge swatch,
Yeah,
because so much could change. But you could go into Ravelry and pick a similar sweater and
and
get
kind of figure it out.
a guesstimate based on that.
Yeah.
I see your point, but I could see why they would hesitate to do it
Like
as
I
well.
kind of know that a stockinette sweater for me with 3/4 sleeves and worsted weight is going to be 1,200 yards. But you know, I like to, well, actually more now that my bust has changed, more like 1,400 yards. But I like to kind of have an idea before I go to all that work of swatching on the
Yeah.
front end. Kind of know. I also think that, like anything, the larger your swatch, the better the results are that you get with this,
Yes.
because it does yardage based on the weight of how much you use in your swatch and the measurements.
Yes. I'm even
Yeah, you
seeing
should
that
not be allowed to use double points.
I
Uh huh.
did a 6x6 swatch for the custom fit. And as I'm going, I'm noticing very small differences in what they would, if they say 100 rows should be 8 inches, whatever, for me, 100 rows might be 8 and 3/4 inches. Like I should have done a bigger swatch. It's not enough to be hugely impactful. And I'm making a note because whenever it says go until you reach this far, it also
Yeah.
gives you a row count, so I'm able to sort of average the two out.
Oh, look at that.
But it's good to know for the future. In the future, I'll do a larger swatch so that I have a much more accurate count of
That's
the.
a pretty large swatch, though, when you think about it.
It is, but I mean, it's also like a backup reserve of yarn in case I
Oh
need it.
yeah,
So
that's also
anyway,
very true.
I've talked long enough. That's all I've got on the
That's all
needle
you
that
have on
I'm
the
working on
needles.
right now.
Well, if I would stop dropping my needles, it would I would have more on the needles. But remind me that I just stuck that in my ponytail, um, because I'll forget and I'll be like, "Where's my other needle?" Or I'll go out to my car later and it'll be a pleasant surprise. Dude, I've gone grocery shopping with knitting needles back there. I've gone, I don't know, everywhere with knitting needles sticking out the back of my head. It's very
As
attractive.
long as you don't brain yourself, I guess it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the important. I totally yell at my kids when they stick pencils in their hair. Like a lot of them have the froze and they'll like
Pot
stick a
meat
pencil in
kettle.
there. And I'm like, don't do that. You're gonna get hurt. Yep. All right. I am working on a pair of Rose City rollers. They were for SSK.
I
I
was
should
gonna say I thought those
totally
were for your wheel
take
tasting.
that out. Because they did not get done. I'm still in the first one. They are out of Vesper yarns in the Rainbow Love colorway. They're being knit on Knitter's Pride, not Knitter's, yeah, Knitter's Pride Nova Platina VPNs on size zeros. I don't know that they'll fit me actually, like because I don't know. I did my normal stitch count on size zeros, which I normally do on size ones, so it might be a little bit of a tight fit. If they don't fit me, they'll be perfect for Mama Linneman.
Yeah, she has
So,
narrower
and
feet.
there'll be enough wool left over for another pair. Totally. I'm enjoying the pattern. It's just I fell while camping, and I fell on. It was so funny because like we just had a conversation about tucking and rolling when you fall. So I totally here's what was happening. When we do family vacation, we rent 3 cabins, and the cabin I was staying in was, and these are state park cabins through the state of Pennsylvania. They're awesome if you're ever looking for a place to stay, like on a
They don't have
vacation.
air
They
conditioning.
do not have air conditioning.
Important in my world.
Um, but they do have heats in the wintertime, but it's like a fun little for a week. You can rent one for a week if you're a PA resident for like $500. So it's not like that it's a
Right.
week. It's a good bit of time. So we have to rent 3 cabins because there's that many of us. And so my cousin, who's like 23, 24, and is like super young, like athletic guy, plays tennis for fun every night, like very sporty, very active. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and he's like, let's go back to the other cabin and build a fire. I'll have the flashlight. You can follow me. So I was like, okay, thinking that we'd take the road. No. We went through the woods on a path he had discovered, which included jumping over a creek bed. And in my head, I'm still 24, and like I'm like, oh, totally.
In great shape, and
in the dark, I can totally jump over a creek bed. And I did. And when I jumped, I landed on some rocks, which then gave way because I'm also like over 200 pounds. And so I went skidding, and when I landed, I was like, oh crap, I should tuck. So I tucked like this and landed right here. So I was icing and taking some drugs.
Did your younger cousin laugh at you for...
No. He was like,
yourself?
oh my God, are you okay? And then he's like, I'll help you.
So he was helping his elderly cousin?
Yeah, because he's the baby and I'm the oldest. He literally is the baby and I'm the oldest. Like, I remember holding him when he was born.
Aww.
He's the baby. He's adorable. So I get up and I'm like, yeah, that hurts a little. And then I went to knit and I was like, oh. Or actually, I couldn't lift my arm like this. And I was like, crap, I really did something. So I took some ibuprofen and...
You thought you took some ibuprofen.
Weezy had ibuprofen, he thought, in his bag. And so I was like, okay, I'll grab one. I was like, is this it? And he's like, yes, that's it. And what I, in fact, was taking was glucosamine, which is like a joint vitamin, which is fine. Like, I was just taking one a day. It wasn't like I was over-exceeding that.
Right, but it wasn't ibuprofen.
But I was freaking out because I was like, my shoulder really hurts, and I'm taking this, like, 800 milligram ibuprofen, and it's still hurting. Like, so I was like freaking out that I had torn a ligament or something, but I was in Pennsylvania in the woods where the nearest hospital was probably an hour away. And I was like, okay, so we had ice packs and I was just icing it and trying to like not be the crazed, like, oh my God, I hurt myself. Everyone pay attention to me. Because I don't like doing that. So I was just sitting in a corner icing it. And then after 2 days, I could knit on circulars, but double points were still bothering me, and now it's fine. But I was like really freaking out because I thought I was like, man, this ibuprofen's not even touching it. And it's like the super duper ibuprofen. Like, I'm really messed up. The super duper, and no, I was just taking placebos. So anyway, Rainbow Love Socks are going splendidly. I'm going to work on some this week because I do want to wear them. I bought new tennis shoes because I left all my toiletries and tennis shoes in Mississippi, which was super helpful. That is hanging out in my Tangerine Designs steampunk bag of wonder. So I got that a couple years ago. Makes me happy. So that's what's in there. And I have a ton. Like, this is probably only going to use total 200 yards.
Yeah, so you can make another pair for yourself.
So I can easily make another pair for me, or I can make little socks for the nieces. So that could happen. The other thing that I have currently on the needles in my Fat Squirrel Hedgehog bag, I didn't know I liked hedgehogs as much as other people thought I did, but I do. Oh, I should have brought my hedgehog puppet in. I got a hedgehog puppet. Oh, you want to see the sweetest thing? So my nieces, while I was visiting with them, I have all these little notes stuck in my bag. Like, I love you, Lala. And then let me find Alice's. These are the fireworks. She's an abstract artist at 3. So, because we were at the ball game. So I keep finding all of these little notes from the nieces, which makes me so happy.
That's sweet.
Anyway, it is super sweet. I finished the body of both socks, and then I just clipped a stitch because these are true afterthought heels where you have to actually clip a stitch, cut a stitch in the middle, and then unravel. And I did that already and picked up the stitches. and I am going to do afterthought heels with short rows on either side. So that is next on the agenda. And then I'll have 350 more yards for Stash Dash. 350 more meters for Stash Dash, around 400 yards. So there's those. These are Two Sisters Yarn Company in the Outlander colorway. They're being knit on size 1 instead of the zeros. And they're looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with them. I'm ready for them to be done so I can count them for Stash Dash. But I'm digging the striping because it's a pretty long stripe sequence.
I like it a lot. I need to cast on my Two Sisters too.
Yes, they just updated your colorway yesterday, and I thought about getting more. Your, what is it, Gray Rainbow? Gothic Rainbow?
Gothic Rainbow.
There you go. And then next on my needles, my sock needles, is White Birch Fiber Arts. One of the prizes we gave away at SSK is a pair of hand-knit socks by me. And Amy of Ross Farms won, and she picked these. And we have very similar size feet, so it will work out great. So that's White Birch Fiber Arts, and this is Purple Rain colorway. It's hand wound into a ball because I was in the woods and I was like, I couldn't really use my shoulder, and I was like, I can totally wind yarn off my knees into a ball. So that is it for me. And look, I even remembered that the double point is in my hair.
Gold star for you.
The Nova Platina double point. So, that's it. You have finished objects, though. A lot. A ton. All the finished objects.
I only have 2. But it is, I haven't had a finished object since May, so it is nice to have a couple.
Really?
Not podcasting has done wonders for my mojo. I guess because I just didn't, because usually by the time Sunday morning hits, I'm like, oh gosh, I have to get stuff ready for the podcast. So it's like, I'm already feeling stressed about it.
Yep.
But, anyhow, when I got home from SSK, I had a kit waiting for me, and it was one that I had requested from Kate of Infinite Twist, and it's the Bifrost kit. It's an asymmetrical garter stitch,
really cool
scarf, and I cast it on immediately and have finished it already.
Wow.
It smells so good. It smells like Tuft Woolens, vanilla, and almond.
Yeah.
It smells so good. I have so much fun playing with the different little slivers that she gave us to try out. Tuft Woolens.
She's got some great things. I've been playing with the Bijou Basin wash.
The Allure one? I haven't tried that one yet.
Once I get a pair of socks done, I'm going to put one in a tub that has that in it and one in a tub that's got soak and see if there's a difference.
For science.
Any color loss. I'm just curious.
So this is, it's called Bifrost. It's linked in the show notes. And it goes through the color spectrum, Roy G. Biv. And it is based off of the Bifrost, which was a bridge from...
The Rainbow Bridge in Nordic mythology.
Yes. There you go. I don't know much about mythology. So anyway,
there's a paranormal romance series that's set with Nordic mythology.
So you know a little. So yeah, it goes through the red, orange, yellow, green, blue.
That's pretty.
Indigo,
I might have to
and violet. It's 630 yards. I think it's $50 or something. And each one of these is its own little
mini skein.
Cake.
Yeah.
And
it's already caked up for you.
The best part, like totally worth the price of admission, is that it uses a join I've never used before. It's called the clasped weft join.
It's a weaver's join.
It is a weaver's join.
Mom told me that.
And it basically means you don't have to weave in any ends later. It does. I'm not going to give away like you can Google it if you want. I don't know that there's a great tutorial in the pattern. But that's also part of the pattern, so I don't own it, so I can't tell you. But I'm sure you could figure it out through Google. This is going to my mother-in-law in Mississippi because she wears a lot of very neutral colors, but I figured something like this might brighten it up.
That'll be pretty.
And it's lovely and huge, and
that can be a Christmas present.
It might just be a surprise present. You know, she doesn't. She's kind of she likes being a grumpy old lady sometimes, and so I like to make her not the grumpy old lady sometimes. But anyway, it is huge, and it went really quickly, and it's very addictive. It's very like, I just want to get to the next color, and there's only, 30-ish yards per color. I mean, it doesn't take long to get to the next color, so I really enjoyed it.
I could see Rebecca Ann rocking that.
I
might have to do one for her.
Yeah, I could knit another one of these in a heartbeat. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
So it's Bifrost by Kate Carter Evans. Her website is infiniteTwist.com. I put a link on the show notes. If you decide to buy one, use our code KnitGirls with 3 L's. It just tells her that you found it through us. Let's see. So that didn't take very long. It took about a week. And it was super easy because it's just garter, so you don't even have to think.
Yeah.
It just increases and decreases on opposite sides.
Cool.
The other item that I finished is Lily Pilly.
Ooh, I'm going to see.
And this is out of 3 colors of hazel knits. It is, the blue is Splish Splash, the gray is Nickel, and the red is Sangiovese.
I like the contrast on those.
It is enormous.
Good. It should be, because
it's almost 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
So it's got alternating sections of lace and garter stripes, and it's asymmetrical as well. It is huge. I could wear it easily as a shawl and still have plenty left over.
Oh, fun.
Could wear it, more scarf-like. The picture has it where it's folded over, and then like Sherlock, the way Sherlock wears his what's his face as Sherlock, Benedict Cumberbatch. So anyway, it's really large, and I really enjoyed it. It was very simple. The lace is very simple, and it also smells lovely. Not that that's a reason to knit the pattern, but it does smell lovely. These were all the hazelnuts artisan base, except for the red, which was, I think it's Divine. It's the silk cashmere base.
I just ordered some Plucky yarn, and I might do that for Plucktober.
That'd be fun.
See. That would be fun. We've got a lot going on in October, though, with Spinzilla and some other things.
Yeah, I have a work thing that happens at the end of September, first part of October, too, so. Anyway, that's the other thing.
Better not happen during Spinzilla.
No, it'll be finished for Spinzilla. It should be. I hope. Jeez Louise. So altogether, I just hit 3,000 meters for Stash Dash. So
that's awesome.
I'm hoping I hit 5K this year. It'd be great if I hit 10. I just don't see that happening. The only way that could happen is if I finish Bridgewater, and I just don't see that happening because the lace, for some reason, in Bridgewater is a garter.
It's a Jared Flood part.
Shetland shawl. That's what it is. So it's garter, diamond, then you pick up and you knit around, and then you do an applied edging. And those 10 rows of the applied edging, I cannot memorize them. I don't know what it is. It's making me crazy. So
how many repeats on it do you still have left?
I haven't even gotten a quarter of the way around. So a lot. Because there's 600 and something stitches. Each repeat only gets rid of 5 stitches. And it's divided into 4 sections. So I've probably only done about 100. Gotten rid of 100 stitches, so only about, 20 repeats? Something like that. So
you probably have like 120 total to do.
Yeah.
No.
So it's not going to happen by the end of Stash Dash.
20 repeats a night and get it done.
It's not going to happen. Anyway, so that's all of the, that's pretty much all I've worked on knitting-wise. I've been carding a ton, but
oh, good.
Nothing that I show you is going to really have an impact to make that viable, so it's all you now.
I have a couple finished objects. I have, let's see, what do I have? I have Stripe Study. I have an iPhone charger that wants to hook on to Stripe Study.
That you did not give away at SSK.
I did not give it away at SSK because it wasn't done at SSK.
It's so pretty.
It's getting there. I finished it not this past Friday, but the Friday before in the car, and Mom wove in the ends. It is around 75 yards across the top, and
75 yards across the top.
that'd be huge. 75 inches across the top, and 40 to 50 inches down. I didn't actually. It filled up my entire blocking boards, both of them, basically. It's huge. It will be a great regular shawl, one that I could go like that with and wrap around, but also one that I could wrap around like a real shawl. It is asymmetrical. I used one of Kimber's. Ooh, I like it like this. I used one of Kimber's paint box kits, and that's this neon here. It's the neon colorway, and then an Alicia goes around skein for the bottom. It was just under 900 yards altogether.
Wow.
Yeah, you wanted me to give it away.
Mainly,
Super
I
comfy.
wanted it. That's like
Yeah,
the core.
there is that. I did buy another kit from Kimber with coordinating yarn to do another one at SSK. So that'll go on the needles probably pretty soon, actually, once I'm finished with Camp Loopy. Um, when I blocked it, I didn't even pin it out. I just put in hot soapy water with some of the lovely wool wash from Bijou Basin. Smells so good. And I just laid it out flat, got it so that, there was because I have lines on my blocking board, that the top edge ran along a line, and just kind of, so I could have made it even bigger had I pinned it and done all the things. But I liked the size that it was.
I like garter to be a little squishy still, though. If you block it out too much, then you lose that squish.
Well, my other piece you'll see is not as squishy as this. So that's the first thing. That was knit on size 6 needles. So just under 900 yards. So it makes me happy. I can't wait till it's a little bit cooler in Mississippi and not 99 degrees.
I was going to say. You need it like 40 degrees cooler.
Oh, Lord. And then it's so funny because I see all these pictures of people in like Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it's snowing here, and I was like, oh, I wish it was snowing. But once it does snow here, I'm going to be like,
yeah,
it's snowing. But I actually like cooler weather a lot more than warm weather. The other thing that I finished is I did the medium size of the Dwayne. Dwayne? Is that what we're calling it?
If that's how it's spelled, yeah.
Okay. Park Triangle Park. Now I'm getting
Dwayne Park Triangle.
There we go. I made my show notes too small. I've only typed it like 8 million times. I don't know why I can't remember it. So I used 2 skeins of Volmisa. I used a skein of the Roter Hindenburg, and then the Feldmasken. So which is field mouse in German. So there's the rotor, and you start right here, and you work your way up. So you're doing increases and decreases, and it's garter stitch. It goes. I actually used a wire to pin out the lace on the bottom edge, and then it goes to a 2-row stripe sequence, in that same pattern. Then there is mesh, and then there is an applied lace edging. This is the medium size. It used 600 yards. The one thing that I wasn't... It's weird because when you look at the pattern online, there's a medium and a large size, and I opted to go for the medium, which was 400 stitches less than the large, just because 40 stitches less than large overall, because I was this was my Camp Loopy, and I was on a bit of a time crunch. And I barely made the 600 yard minimum. I thought, because the only yardage that's given is 1 skein of each, which is 800 and some yards altogether. And when I'm looking at Ravelry, I looked at everyone's projects, and it was such a weird differential between yardage used. Like, some people used 300 yards, and some people used 1,500 yards. So it was this weird, like, I don't know what's going on type thing. But I used 600. Barely. I added a little bit of the mesh because I was worried that I was not going to hit the 600 yard So I'm in between a medium and a large. But I loved it. It was very easy. Like Leslie was saying, you know, on her edging, she couldn't memorize it. I can't memorize this edging, but it goes really fast and does kind of like a picot. So how I block this is I strung a wire through this edge, which is the top straight edge, where you're increasing and decreasing. So the stitch count on the side stays the same. And I strung the wire all the way through, all the way down. Then I put a wire through these yarn over stitches that occur after the mesh, but before you add on the edging. And I wired those and then pinned out the points. So each of these loops got a pin, and that stretched out the lace a little bit. It is around 60 inches long altogether by around 40 inches wide. So it's a little bit off her finished measurements as well, which is probably my fault because I don't do gauge on shawls.
Yeah.
Like
I think most people don't.
I don't even look at gauge on shawls, but it's a very cool, like, I was fiddling.
You're going to be futzing with it for an hour.
I know. I was fiddling with it earlier, and I made it look very cute. Now I can't remember how I did it. So it's not really a shawl. There we go.
That's pretty.
It's more of like a wraparound scarf more than anything else. Again, asymmetrical. I'm very into asymmetrical two-color shawls right now. So I'm thinking, because I wear a lot of black, I think it'll look nice with some black, like a black t-shirt, some khakis or gray pants, actually gray pants, and some new boots that I just ordered from Fluvog. So
did you get the boots Martha showed?
No. Okay, Fluvog's doing a crazy sale. And so this is what happens when I'm in 11-hour car trips and I just get paid. So I got paid and I was like, man, they had sale prices plus an additional 15% off. So like $400 boots cost me $150.
So maybe you can explain to me, because I've never owned a pair of Fluvogs.
I've only owned one pair before.
They are very pricey. Why are they so pricey?
See, I'm not a good person to ask, but I believe it's partially design and partially materials used and partially name recognition. So, but when I get my new boots, I will tell you. But I've only owned one pair before. But when you're talking, like, I've only gotten them on sale. So $150. How much do you spend on your things?
Danskos, I usually spend about $100 a pair, and they last me 3 to 4 years usually.
Yeah. So we'll see. This is my trial. The other pair that I have are high heels that I rarely wear. So.
I was just surprised because Martha Tuft Woolens on Instagram.
She's a huge fan.
She posted a picture of some yesterday that I really liked, and because usually Fluvog's a little too weird for me. I love them weird, but I can't wear weird every day. It's not practical for my job. So I I'm not willing to invest in that much. But she had some relatively calm, really cute looking boots. And
so some cute boots.
I went to the website and it was like sticker shock. I was like, holy crap, these boots that I liked were almost $400.
You should look at their sales stuff because they've got some cool sales stuff.
So,
actually, what we should do is next time we're in a town, I think they have stores in Boston, Chicago, and someplace else. Next time we're in Chicago, we should go to the Fluvog store and then we can try them on.
Anyway, this is not a podcast about shoes.
I'm sure like spinning, people have better reasons why.
Yeah, if you happen to know, share it in the thread because I'm curious. I'm sure that they're worth it. I'm just curious about why they're so expensive.
Yeah, I do have some spinning. I finished my owl the day that I left. I took the final pictures. I had given its bath and everything, so I took some final pictures, and this is Crivens by Hello Yarn Fiber. I had 8 ounces to spin. I got this is a 2-ply. I was hoping to get around 800 yards. I got 1,050 yards, so it is a fingering weight. I'm very pleased with it. I think it came out really well.
Very lovely.
So it's going to be a shawl of some kind. Um, the group that this was for was the Mega Sale group, and there's a woman in there. They have finished object threads, which is really inspiring to see everyone doing the same colorways and what they're making out of them and how they're spinning them and all that. So she did this gorgeous shawl, and actually the contrast color she used is from Southern Cross, and it was merino that was one of the club colorways. So I have that like an orange, and she did like this as the body, and just a plain simple body out of this, and then like a ruffle out of the orange at the bottom, similar to the Mara shawl.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that might be what that becomes. So I'm super happy with that. I can't wait to start. I need to knit some out of my hands, but I
Yeah,
have
I'm the same way.
lurking around that really needs to get knit. With this and the other two shawls I just finished, I am at 8,200 meters for Stash Dash. So we have 13 days left, and I need 1,800 meters. I'm not certain I'm going to make it, but I did post in that as my one, like, go big or go home post. So we'll see what I get done. This is the first week of school for me. I start back at school tomorrow at 8 a.m. I was up there today laminating for a few hours. So I don't know how much more knitting, but I have a feeling I'm going to be in meetings most of the day tomorrow. Like, I know I have suicide prevention training for a couple hours, so I think I might get some quality knitting done there. So I might cast on a pair of socks that I can just zip right along.
Right.
Probably Ross Farms socks. I have this sock, the other set of socks, and then I have two pairs of socks that just need heels that I started earlier in the year, or earlier in Stash Dash. So that'll give me probably around 1,000 meters there. So we'll see what I can get done.
I think you'll pull through and hit 10K.
I'm hoping so. That's a large number. Like, if I can get some spinning done this week, we'll see. I also have some other things going on that we will talk about later, but that's about it. We do have a question from Wallet. When you come to join in your ball of yarn, what do you recommend doing? A, knit so that the join is hidden in the back and remains there. B, cut and rejoin the yarn. Why is one method better than the other, and why can yarn companies get away with doing this? So, do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
So, after making a total ass out of myself about 10 years ago, I learned that yarn companies have standards of how many imperfections within a certain yardage is acceptable. And at that point in time, it was like 3 knots or imperfections within 400 or 500 yards of a fingering weight. That was what I ended up finding out.
So that's what's acceptable by
That
yarn.
is an industry standard acceptable number. That is not necessarily what each individual company or dyer holds themselves to, but that's like other things that are related to what you find in food that's gross that I'll skip over. But so I would say, unless it's a chronic problem, I would give a little leeway. And it's not necessarily that yarn companies are getting away with anything, but it's just imperfections in the process. You know, all of this yarn is made, for the most part, without people touching it. It's all made by machines. Really cool machines, but a machine is less likely to catch a small imperfection than a person would. As for what to do, if you come to a join in your yarn, I would, unless it's invisible and you can't tell that there's a join there, I would treat it exactly as a knot. And I would, and what I mean by that is if it's a wool, a non-superwash wool that they've just like hand felted together, I would treat that as if it were a knot. And basically what I do is, if this were the knot here, I would just hold it and create a loop and then continue to knit and come back later, snip it, and weave those two ends in.
I'm hesitant to knit with, I agree with Leslie on the snipping part. I'm hesitant to knit with things that have been knotted by people other than me
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know how that knot was made and I don't know.
The strength.
Yes, sorry, I have a needy cat. Of that knot or if it will hold. So I'm someone who does the loop, like Leslie said, do a loop, continue knitting. You could even knit with it doubled for a couple
Mm-hmm.
stitches if you wanted, but I would definitely trust myself in what I'm doing over what someone in a machine in a factory just, I'm sure they just knotted it together. They didn't do any specific kind of knot. You can also use things like Russian
Mm-hmm.
joins,
Or magic knots if it's not something that's a very fine flat
slippery.
fabric where it would be very clearly seen. Like if you're knitting in garter, knots are going to pretty much disappear. You're not going to see them unless it's a very fine open weave. Um, it would partially depend on the fabric, but for me, it is worth the 5 minutes it's going to take to weave in two ends to be confident in the fact that that item is not going to fray at that point
Now, if you do have something that's knotted and it's a color run, something like a Noro, and then it switches colors
abruptly.
abruptly, if you have another skein, you might want to go back to that color and kind of rejoin at that color versus that abrupt switch over. I was missed, obviously.
Mhm. So we don't recommend just knitting it into your work. I would take the extra 5 minutes and weave those ends in later for peace
Oh
of
yeah,
mind.
definitely.
Just that's just my opinion. It's not necessarily the gospel.
Sorry, you got yarn stuck to his tail. Oh, floopy cat. All right. I wonder if anyone else saw that. It might have been off camera. Um, so that's it for that. Thank you for your question. We do have a thread on the forums where you can post questions, and we try to answer them in a timely manner. Although we only do one a week, so it just depends.
Sometimes we get a backlog.
We do. We have backlog right now. What are you reading, my friend?
So I'm going to go through this quickly. We had 3 weeks, so I have read and listened to quite a lot. Driving down to Nashville, I listened to The Fold, which is a book by Peter Clines. He is the one who also did the book just called 14, which is an excellent, excellent book. If you're into any sort of contemporary fiction, I would give it a listen. It does have a little bit of sci-fi in it, but not overwhelmingly so. That just came out, so I listened to that on the way down. On the way back, I listened to Armada, which is by Ernest Cline, and he is the author who wrote Ready Player One, which is being turned
Yeah.
into a movie, which I'm very excited about. Armada was good, but not as good as Ready Player
Ready Player
One.
One.
Ready Player
Is
One
it in
set
the
the
same
bar so
universe? Yeah.
high that it's hard to get there. It's not set in the same sphere as Ready Player One.
Okay.
Also, The Fold by Peter Clines has some ties to 14 that you end up seeing at the end. So hopefully they'll expand that a little bit. I enjoyed it as well. After that, I listened to Patient Zero, which is a Joe Ledger novel, which was okay. Meh. There's a whole series. I have no interest in going further in the series. It was okay. Now I am re-listening, probably for the fourth time, to one of my favorite books written in the past 10 years or so, The Night Circus, which is read by Jim Dale.
I love Jim Dale as a narrator. He
Yes.
narrated all the Harry
Mm-hmm.
Potters. He was one of two narrators that did Harry Potter, but he is an excellent
Yeah, he does a
narrator.
great job. It's The Night Circus is primarily between a male and a female. They're both protagonists. And he does, like, it's very seamless. You don't even think this is a
Yeah.
man with a woman's voice. Like, it just flows very well. I love it, and I've read it and listened to it several times. As far as reading, I read the seventh Kate Daniels novel, which was Magic Breaks. The eighth one comes out this month sometime.
Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that soon. Um, I'm reading The Curse Giver, which is sort of fantasy-ish. Just finished Cottonwood, which is definitely science fiction. And I'm finishing up Written in Red, which is,
And Bishop, right?
yes, and it's very different from the other paranormals that I've read because Most paranormals that I've
I
read,
told you it's like a horror
yeah,
fantasy
it's very
sci-fi.
weird. It's like
It's
most of
good.
them. There's like the male character is this like very alpha leader of
No,
whatever the
no.
werewolves or whatever it is, and all he needs is this woman to settle him down, and it's instant mate status, and there's all this. So that's what it
Well, it's not
usually
a
is.
paranormal romance. There's a difference between paranormal
Well,
fantasy and
yes, you're
paranormal
right.
romance too.
But this paranormal is like humans are meat and they're there to be eaten. Like
Yep.
so it's very different. It's very interesting though. So
Horror, yeah,
um
it's
I'm
just flat out horror. I feel like
I'm
but it's hard to box it into one genre
I
because
would
it's
agree with
really not.
that. So I'm
It's
enjoying
really good.
that. I started it last night and I'm about 3/4 of the way through because I read while I knit on my little old lady bed thing. Anyway, so what about you? What have you been reading?
So ridiculous. I read a Nora Roberts book called The Liar that I got from the library. It was typical Nora
Yeah.
Roberts stuff. Yesterday, August 1st, One Good Dragon Deserves Another by Rachel Aaron came out. It is a sequel to no, I can't remember. But it was good. That's again like one of those. It's not a paranormal romance. It's just flat out paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very good. I like that series a lot. She also has a sci-fi series by the name of Rachel Bach is her like pseudonym. That's good. She's written the Eli Moon Press series, which I really enjoyed. Um, so that's a third series by her, and the third in that series will come out early 2016. So she says. My favorite thing that I could not put down that I read while my shoulder was being mean is Rowell, who's a YA author, wrote a book called Fangirl that was really, really, really good. I am not someone who loves realistic fiction as a whole. It's not my favorite, but this was really, really good. Set in a college. The main protagonist is a twin. Her mom left the family when she was young. Her dad's bipolar. And her twin has some problems with alcohol. It's definitely more of a upper YA book. I would say 16, 17 years old and up. I don't think it's going to go in my library. I'm so torn about it because it's such a good book, but it does have drugs. It does have mental illness, and it does have some sexual content. So I think
It's
it's a
hard to sell
little
for middle
too much.
school.
Well, it's a little too mature. Like, oh, I could sell it. Like they would
Well,
be
no, I
reading it,
mean
but
to
the
the
parents,
administration, yeah.
the parents would not be enjoying it as much as the kids would. Oh, it's such a hard fence. But I think I'm going to recommend it to the high school. It's also a hard fence in Mississippi more
Yeah.
than anything else. I'm going to recommend it to the high school library, and I'm going to text her later this week and recommend that. That's the same author of Eleanor and Park, which is another great book.
Hmm.
Again, upper YA. So really, really good. I highly recommend it. Even if you're not, if even if you're an adult, I really enjoyed it. Um, and our friend Jessica's sister Liz recommended it to me. So
That's
we
cool.
talk books every once in a while. Through Jessica, she's our mediator. So it was good because she's a middle school English teacher. That's it for me for reading for the most part. I listened to Roald Dahl's Audible collection, which is like 5 or 6 of his books on my trip. But I don't know. I haven't been reading this summer. I've lost my reading mojo like I usually have. So,
You've had a lot you're doing too, so.
oh, I'm not doing that much. But it's hard to justify like sitting and reading when the nieces are running around or SSK. I don't think I read it. Well, I read a little bit.
I think I read like 5 minutes at night, just enough to get my
Just so
brain
like
to turn
brain to
off.
shut down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I played Candy Crush more than anything else at night just to get myself to settle down and move on. Although I wasn't going to bed till like 1 a.m. most nights because we shut down the big room and kind of move on from there. But yeah, that's about it. Um,
So, do we have anything else? Yeah, you have something you want to talk about, and then pretty much everything else will be.
we have 3 things to talk about, and then everything else will be SSK. Okay. So, first off, I am speaking and teaching at the Mid-South Knitting Guild workshops on the river. That is this Friday and Saturday. I'm doing a lecture on fiber choices and how that, along with twist and content, affects your finished yarn, which then in turn affects your finished objects. I am teaching a class on Saturday on my cat just kicked me on socks with afterthought heels, which is a great class. It's actually my favorite class to teach at this point. So that's lots of fun. I need to pack all my, because I have like 20 socks that I need to pack. I need to find all those. So that will be fun. I am
You're
in the
getting
middle of
headbutted.
I know. I'll wait. This is like when I'm at night, this is what happens all night. And then we snuggle. And sometimes he kisses me. Yeah.
No, we're in headbutting right now.
All the headbutting all the time. And the kicking, apparently. What's best is when he, like, whaps me with his paw across the face. Are we talking about you? We are, because you're a jerk. So that's it for this Mid-South Knitting Guilds. They also have a small marketplace that'll be there Friday, primarily. I'll be working all day. This is going to be awesome. I'll be working all day. It's the first week. I'll probably be distributing textbooks all day. And then going straight from there to the guilds. But it's fun. And the Mid-South Guild, if you're in the area, is a great organization. They do lots of reach out work as well. And they're good people. So that'll be fun. Because there's no way if it was anyone else that I would have said yes to this. I would have been like, no, first week of school. And then I would have gone to Stitches Midwest. So, anyway. I wish I was going to Stitches Midwest, but I'm missing it again this year. The second year in a row. Next year for sure I have to go. It's a rule. Becca might kill me if I don't. Plus, there's that awesome pancake place.
I was going to say, when are you going to bring up red velvet pancakes? I know it's coming.
I don't eat the red velvet. I get the Oreos.
Well,
and you can get the
talks about
side.
red velvet.
Sarah talks about the red velvet.
Oh, okay.
That's at like Wildberry or something. Anyway, we have the Three Waters Farm Spin Along, Knit Along going on. So that will be going on. Through the end of August.
Yep, August 31st is the
So I need to finish. Oh, maybe I could finish spinning that. I have the first 4 ounces almost done, but I had to take it off my wheel because we needed that wheel at SSK. So that's on my Lendrum. I need to get that done. And you finished yours. Do you know what you're going to knit out of yours yet?
No, mine is right here. I got 388 yards. Don't know what I'm going to knit yet. We'll see.
That'd be a cool cowl or hat or something.
I don't really wear cowls, but I could do a couple of hats out of it.
Yeah, for sure. You could do like a sock head type hat. Did you spin it woolen or worsted?
I spun it worsted.
Okay, that'll be fun. It's a 2-ply?
It is a 2-ply, but it's almost 400 yards, and it's probably a worsted, so I could get 2 hats out of it pretty easily.
Wow. It was a Polwear silk, correct? Yeah. That'll be fun. So that's going on through the end of August. There's a chatter thread and an FO thread in the Knit Girls group on Ravelry. So that's it for that. And then Stash Dash. Stash Dash is going on. It closes the 15th, I believe. I could be totally making that up.
Yeah, 14th or 15th. I can't remember.
I'm going to look while we're talking about it. So that is going on right now. It is rules and chatter. There we go. There's so many rules and so much chatter.
Yeah, who put those rules in?
I know. So many rules. Jerk Empress of Stash Dash. It runs through August 14th, midnight August 14th. It must be a Friday. That must be why I did that. Let's take a look. Yep, it's a Friday. So, because it ran from a Friday to a Friday. I tried to do that on purpose. So go ahead and start posting your entries in the FO threads if you know that you're there. I tried to update mine and it deleted everything that I updated today. So, but it forced me to make some project pages. So, that's how I know I'm at 8,200 meters because I did all that work and then it deleted. Like Ravelry did the like swirl of death. Oops. The shaken bob. We have a problem. So,
Poor Laura.
it's fine. Nah, that's not a big deal. I'll redo that. That's not a big deal at all. It looks like right now that there are 86 entries in the finished for the 10K, 195 in the 5K, and let me open the 3K. I have to make the tab bigger. The 3K has 170 posts, so that's not saying that all those are actually done.
Right, just people have claimed their spots. They've decided that's where they're going to be. So,
but a lot of people have been posting finished things, and it's if you're looking for inspiration of any kind, that both the chatter and the FO threads are great places for inspiration.
Yeah, the FO threads I usually go through every year, and my queue grows.
Oh yeah,
as I go through. So, all right. Very cool. Pretty much the rest of this is SSK.
Yeah.
Complete gluttony. No judgment is allowed in this.
Oh, I didn't. All my
space.
Stuff's over there.
Mine's
you do
here.
yours. Okay, you do yours today, and then we'll do mine at a different time.
Okay, but first, you guys.
Because we're already at over an hour.
Between you and me, this is a safe space, and we don't judge in a safe space. Okay, so, between
you can judge, just don't PM us judging us.
Judge in your own head. I don't want to hear that. Trust me, I've already said it to myself.
Well, one of the things that we try to do, because we are running an event, and
we want everyone to succeed.
Yes, and I appreciate every single vendor who comes to our event. So I want to support every single vendor that comes to our event. So I buy something from every single one of them for the most part.
Yeah.
I did forget one person this year, which means
there were 4 vendors that I neglected to get something from this year.
But
I tried to spread it around.
Yeah, and I've bought stuff from them at like Stitches and other places. So
between presents, because I'm totally freaking spoiled by wonderful people, and things that I bought, I have a whole giant thing.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to go through it relatively quickly. If there is anything,
and then we can talk about SSK this year, and then SSK next year. How about that?
Okay, so I do have one of the bags, the goodie bag.
Yeah, that was one of the goodie
I took the stuff out, but the bag is pretty cool. The art is all done by Beck. It is just a big, sturdy canvas bag like you would get, you would use for shopping, with all of our art on it, which was really cool. Beck always does a wonderful job with us for our art. Let me get some of this stuff out. My ridiculous pig bag that I love so much.
Oh, that one's cool. I didn't
Therese.
know that one. That's awesome.
Teresa R.R. Roberts gave it to me, and I brought it out when I got home, and Kobe was like, "Mom, everybody knows you love pigs." And I was like, "That is a fact, hon." So, okay.
I got a Steelers bag from her. That's super sweet.
I got some lovely gifts, which I'm not going to show everyone, but I did send thank you notes. So
I need to get the list from you because Leslie was keeping track.
Yes. If you gave me something, you should expect a thank you note.
I'm wearing the t-shirt, by the way, today.
Oh yes, Gauge Before Rage. That was our artwork for this year's shirt. That's not the shirt that everybody got. We usually order one of what everybody gets and then one different one for ourselves, so we wear them during the event. So that one looks a little bit different, but alright, so let's start. I'm just going to have to resign myself to the fact that it's going to be a mess down here while I do this.
I could send Humberto to help you clean it up.
So the first thing is Saki Sock Sock. These are dumpling bats by Will Pierogi.
Those are pretty.
So that's 4.6 ounces of some beautifully batted up, carded
She always does really pretty stuff. She and Jelby and Martha will have a booth, and Ponky will all be in this booth together at Stitches Midwest. So if you're going to Stitches Midwest, totally check them out.
Yes. I'm trying to separate gifts from things that I bought. So 2 things that I bought from Jinx. Laura at Jinx Yarn, her and her husband Jose. Husband? Yes, husband.
They were doing cosplay someplace.
Yeah, they were at Gen Con this week doing cosplay. And of course, Laura looks freaking amazing in everything she wears. This is the Power Sock Self-Striping. It is the House Cup colorway. So these are all...
I got that too, yeah.
Harry Potter colors.
So it goes through, like, Slytherin.
Yeah, so there's...
green and silver, Hufflepuff, yellow and black.
Blue, bronze, green, light gray, yellow, black, deep red, golden yellow.
Yep. And then Ravenclaw, and then
So it's 3 rows of each, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I thought that I was going to want Grainbow, but once I saw it in person, I fell for this one more than Grainbow. And this one is the Strong Sport, so it's a sports weight, and it's Abandoned Carnival.
Yeah, I like that one. That's one of her new Halloween colorways.
Yeah.
I'm sad that I did not get that one.
I'm
So
glad that I got it in a sport because I don't knit with sport enough. So this one
yeah.
goes through red, dark purple, blue purple, tan, green. Anyway, it looks like an abandoned carnival. Like that is what it would look like. She did a great job. So those are the 2 items that I got from Jinx. Ugh, this is making such a mess. It's driving me crazy. I was super restrained, not like Jessica, and bought 1 skein at another Crafty Girl. Jessica bought significantly more than 1 skein. And I'm totally tattling on her. This is Painter's Palette, which is a worsted weight.
I got that too.
Just a beautiful blend of colors.
And Jessica's knitting socks out of that right now, and they look very cool.
I thought I would make a hat out of it because it's just every color, and it makes me happy.
That's what I got it for. Or I thought about doing, I've done a newborn vertebrae in the worsted weight.
Of hers, yeah.
Before, and it came out super cute, so I could do that again too.
At Highland Handmaid's booth, she had some striped socks. She doesn't do stripes a lot, so I knew I wanted to grab some. These are all the striped maple sock, which is 100% superwash merino, so I'll probably alternate for the heels and toes. It's 320 yards, and they're all...
And it's like a heavy fingering.
Yeah, it definitely looks heavy. They're all themed. So this is Witchcraft and Wizardry.
I got that one too!
This one is The Man in Black, which is Princess Bride themed.
I did not get that one.
And then Hunters. This is Supernatural themed. This is after the TV show Supernatural with Sam and Dean Winchester. Because how can you not? They're such hotties. Anyway. God, I'm rolling over stuff now. Miss Babs had and she developed a color for us last year, and she developed a new one for us this year.
Nashville Neon was last year.
Yes. And this one is Center Stage, so it's based off of the country music. Yeah, so she had it on lots of different bases. So I picked one. I picked the Tarte 4-ply fingering.
That's what I got too.
Stop copying me.
I got a lot of purple in mine on purpose. I went through them all and got more.
Yeah, they are very different, and they took to the bases very differently, which is cool because you could pick one that really worked.
I like the Tarte because it's got a lot of yardage on it. Did you say it's a tencel merino blend, right?
It is.
Oh, crap! He just fell.
Merino, nylon, and tencel, yes. And it's 500 yards. So, yeah, you could definitely get a pair of socks out of that with no problem.
Oh, yeah, or a shawl or something else.
Jeanette with Sun Valley Yarns brought one of her sweater. Well, she brought several things, but one of them was the Lifesaver cardigan. And it's gray with just different colors of the rainbow and alternating stripes, which I loved. So I bought the gray and pre-bought the little minis that she's going to send to me.
She will also be at Stitches Midwest, and she and Java Jenny are doing like a bag.
Yeah, Kitchen Counter Crafter, is that Java Jenny? Yeah, they have a booth together. So I got, I don't know what the base is called. It's not on here. But it's a cashmere silk merino, and it's called Dust in the Wind. I got enough of the gray.
Ooh, pretty.
For me, for the sweater, and then I'll have the colors probably after Stitches. I'm sure that she has a backlog. I got from Gail's Art. I already have 1 skein of this MCS that she sent us, which is a dark purple. So I got 2 alternating colors to do something in 3 color. And this is the Merino Yak Silk.
That would be great for one of the Melanie Berg patterns.
Yes, so it's really soft and supple.
Like Dreckenfels.
Yeah, something that just drapes and lays. So I got 2 of those from Chic Dreamery Kelly's. I got one of these speckled dyes. This is called Chop Tank.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
I didn't see those.
I really liked it. I don't know what I'll do with it yet, but I like it. And then she also had sock blanks where they're double knit, so it's 2 skeins at once that's knit together, so you can make perfectly matching socks.
Very cool.
It's the Lily's Pulitzer colorway, and it's merino.
Are you going to do your socks
blend.
2 at a time? How are you going to do that?
God, I'd have to do it 2 at a time, wouldn't I? Maybe I'll
Yep.
just wind them into two separate balls. I don't know.
You could.
So I got that at Sheep Dreamery. I
The
got
perk of having multiple ball winders.
from, man, and let me tell you, I hit freaking Dramatic Knits like it was going out of style. Let's see.
I love Steve's stuff.
This I got from, I restrained myself and only got one skein from Mustache. And this is the OCD, so it's two skeins that are perfectly matched, wound together.
Huh?
And it's the Kama Sutra, so it's 20
Oh,
stripes.
I already had that one. I have that one already.
I did not.
That's perfect.
But she had tons of yarn there, so lots and lots of stuff. She was really well stocked, which was good because a lot of people wanted her stuff.
Yep.
Then I got from the Cyborgs Craft Room, Impromptu Dance Party, which is a lovely, sparkly merino.
I got that too. Why are you keep getting the same
We
things?
didn't shop together either, because one of us was
No.
always out front, so one of us was in the shop or in the market. So I don't know how, but I got
a lot of the
a
same
lot of the
stuff.
same things. I love this. I don't know what I'll do with it, but it makes me happy. Let's see. And then I got something from House of Yarn, but I don't know where the other bit. Oh, here it is. So we were at House of Yarn, and I bought this kit for something, but now I don't remember what.
You bought it to do a Melanie Berg
Yeah,
thing.
but I don't remember what it was.
It was the same one that you're already doing.
The Joker and the Thief?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, so I got, they had some...
But you could do one of her other ones, like I'm sure.
Yeah, I could. It's hard to see this.
Or you could do, I think we were talking about stripe studies, too. We were talking about
That's what
stripe
we
studies.
decided was Stripe Studies.
Yes.
Stripe Study. So I got a solid that would go with, sort of, it would contrast off these. You can't see this, but it's different shades of maroon. It's hard because of the way my lighting is. I'm sorry. So I had several. I got a kit for Stripe Study because I really liked how Laura's was coming out. And then I did a bunch of damage at Leading Men Fiber Art. So one of the things that, one of the reasons we love having the try it on room at SSK is because you get to try on things without the investment of putting in all the time of having to knit it.
And the money of purchasing.
Right. Which is great because things that you thought you would love, you end up really not loving. But like me, something that I thought would look terrible on me looked really good. One of them.
Talking about sugar maple?
Sugar maple, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an asymmetrical.
And it looked terrible on me, and it looked terrible on my mom.
But it looked good on me for some reason.
But it looked
so,
great on Leslie.
Not
so
as good as
there you
Hazel,
go.
who everything she put on, I swear, looked like it was custom made for her. And like varying range of sizes, everything looked good on her. Anyway, I'm going to let that bitterness go. So from Steve, I got the Blue Steel Gradient, which is almost 700 yards, 657 yards of a British BFL. And it's in this gorgeous sort of bluish green color. So I got 2 packages of those. So
perfect.
I can either do it where it goes from light to dark back to light, or I can just do 2 skeins of light, 2 skeins.
I would do too.
So it just depends. I haven't.
Yeah.
It's a way down the road. And also, I had pre-ordered a sweater lot from him.
I didn't know that.
Back when the Fat Squirrel was knitting a hat earlier this year in the spring.
Yes.
Made out of
honeycomb.
Yes, made out of copper cloud. And I immediately, while I was watching it, texted him and I said, okay, I need a sweater's lot of this. Put it aside. And so he did, and I picked it up. And it's called Copper Cloud. And this is in the exact same base as the minis that I got, the Soliloquy, which is a British BFL.
Uh-huh.
So I got a sweater lot.
So what are you going to knit with it? Do you know?
I do. It's a fingering weight, very simple cardigan with a little bit of detail right in the front vertically. I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to find
Is that going to be your Rhinebeck sweater?
Probably not.
Are you going to do a Rhinebeck sweater?
Probably not, because I've got so much. I've got travel before Rhinebeck and Spinzilla. I'm just not going to have time.
So let's say that your custom fit sweater is your
my
Rhinebeck
sweater.
How about that?
Yeah, and I've knit a couple already this year that I can just pretend were Rhinebeck
Yeah,
sweaters.
or you could finish that other one that you have on the needles, and that
Trick.
can be your
Yeah, that's true.
Those two, you're set.
Yeah. So, but I love this color, Copper Cloud, so much. Oh gosh, so pretty.
It's gorgeous.
So, and then I was doing a last walk at 10 till 4 because our market closes at 4. And I was just walking around and talking to all the vendors, making sure they had what they needed and letting everybody know that it was time to shut down. And I was chatting with Steve, and Steve of Dramatic Knits, leading Men Fiber Arts, and asking him, how did he do, what sold, and, what did he like about the market and all that stuff. And he walked over and said, you know what, I'm really surprised that this didn't sell. Because I kind of expected this to sell. And I was like, oh my God.
Now it is selling.
Now it is selling. Shut up and take my money. So this is, I love it. I love the graffiti look to it. And I love that the yarn isn't a true white. Like the base of the yarn is almost dirtier looking.
Yeah.
Which makes me happy for some reason.
You'll not be able to tell if you have dirt on your socks.
This is Actions Speak Louder Than Words. It's a sock blank. It's merino nylon. And it looks very graffiti, sort of decay-ish. And I don't know. I dig it. So, yeah. So this just teaches me to stay the heck out of Steve's booth.
There you go.
I have an impossibility to say no to him. Also got some soap from Tuft Woolen, some stuff from Gelby.
You got, did you get a thing from Ross Farm?
The Power Scour. I bought a gallon of Power Scour from Ross Farm.
Too, since she had it.
Yes, and I have a couple other things that are upstairs that I'll show y'all next week. I didn't bring everything down here. There are a couple of things still up there. So, yes. So that's my gluttony. This is a safe space, so we don't judge. Also got some awesome socks from this chick I know.
Oh, look at those.
These are the Up and Out socks, which is a pattern Laura just designed. It was part of the Willy Wonka club that Tangerine Designs did, and Laura designed the pattern for her, and Knitter's Nightmare Sadie did the yarn for her. So they're lovely, and I wanted to show them before.
Did they fit?
I haven't put them on my feet because my feet are stinky, and I wanted to show them before I put my stinky feet in them.
Well, they might not fit, so don't count your chickens before they're hatched.
I'll make sure my feet are clean before I put them on. So if they don't fit, we will gift them to someone who they do fit.
Again.
So that's all that I have, I think.
Okay. Let's go through SSK. So we got there Tuesday to do goodie bags, and we had some wonderful things that people donated for our goodie bags, but also we spent around $50 on each goodie bag. And one of my favorite things that we do in the goodie bag is the scratch-off card. So we do like a scratch-off card, and you can win a variety of prizes, including one of them is $100 to
spend in the market.
One of them was an auto into SSK the following year. There's all sorts of different ones. So that's lots of fun. But we had some great stuff in there. Some buttons from Acreworks, soap from Tuft Woolen, some gorgeous fiber from Hello Yarn, amazing yarn from Hazel Knits, just a bunch of free pattern from Woolly Wormhead, lip gloss from Knit, Pray, Love, tons of different stuff. So I'm sure y'all have seen millions of pictures of that on the interwebs, so we don't really need to go through that all. Wednesday is the day that everyone arrives, and it's so much fun to see old faces, as in people that we've met before, not that they're actually old, but people we've seen at different events or have been to SSK before, and brand new people that we're meeting for the first time. That's
including
always
some
exciting.
That come all the way from Australia, or Canada, or Sweden, or we have some lovely folks that come from other countries as well.
And all over the United States as well. So it's tons of fun. So we got to hang out with people. Wednesday, we do cupcakes, which is always a big hit, and the cupcakes are always so good. And then we do the opening night ceremonies. We had a special performer this year because, what is her name? The singer
Sandy and Sweden's sister, Sandy Ken's sister. I can't remember her name.
She's a link to her album is in the SSK forums on Ravelry. She was amazing. We give out tons of door prizes. We gave out 75 door prizes that night. Just so much fun and lots of laughs. And then Thursday is classes. I took a core spinning class, and I should have brought my samples over here. with Sarah Anderson that was absolutely phenomenal. I wish I could have taken all of her classes. If you see her offering classes in your area and you're a spinner, totally jump on that.
Yeah, I took a class with Gail of Gail's Art on Thursday of dyeing silk scarves, and let me tell you, it took a lot of restraint for me not to order $300 worth of supplies to do the stuff at home because it was so much fun and so easy. And Gail is a very sort of conversational teacher, very approachable. She made things very easy to understand and really helped everybody decide what they wanted and made them, enabled them to get that. So that was
And I
a
was
lot of
supposed
fun.
to take another class with Mary Jane Mucklestone, but it was when we were setting up for market and I just couldn't get up there. But I really hate missing that. I
Hmm.
took a class from Susan B. Anderson the last time we had her, so I didn't want to take in her up space in her classes because she was super popular.
Hmm.
We had amazing teachers. We had dinner with different people each night. Thursday night is the tasting room where we had all sorts of needles, wheels, some wheels that I had never tried before that I got a chance to try that like Ross Farms had brought. I did a wheel choice breakout, just going through different, and there were so many great breakouts. I really wanted to go to see a dramatic knits breakout, but there were breakouts throughout that were amazing. Continental Kim did one on supported
Yep.
spindling. There are just so many that were insanely awesome, and I wanted to hit them all, but I couldn't, which made me sad. And then Friday, more classes set up for the market. And then the try it on room that night, we had so many sweaters, so many
And we
sweaters.
had so many people try on the cat sweater.
Yes.
If you search on Instagram or probably Twitter too with SSK
I should text
2015.
you. I should text you that video, and maybe you could put it in at the end of the people that I took
Yeah,
picture.
if you did it quickly, I could. But yeah, Laura, not Laura, her sister Beck had knit this just atrociously terrible
She
but
loves it.
funny sweater
Out of Vanna's
out
choice.
of Vanna's Choice, and it was from like a Vogue knitting in the 70s, of
80s.
this angry cat,
Gee, yeah.
and
It's like the typical 80s oversized
Steve
box.
is gonna love this because I'm just gonna pull up one, and his
No,
was the first
you
one.
have to do his. His is the best. His and
Um,
Beth are my favorites.
he's very angry. Well, he's giving you blue steel, I think. But we had everybody in this sweater. We even got
Paula of Knitting Pipeline did it. Susan B.
begrudgingly. She did not want to do
She was
it.
like that sweaty sweater.
And it
It was
was pretty
so
gross by that point. Susan B. Anderson got in it. We got Scooter Pie in it, and that is half of Ross Farm Fibers.
we got probably around 75 people in it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And that was that's a memorable part of SSK is everybody got to try on that silly cat sweater. But it is also fun because several items in the try it on room had little notes on them that they were free to a good home. Like if it fit you and you really loved it, come see me, we'll talk. So a lot of people had trades and gave away things that they, just did not work for them.
I found like two sweaters I absolutely love, like the orange.
Yes, that A.E. Hull had knit.
Yes, although there
And
was
she was totally going to steal that from you.
oh
She
yeah.
wanted it.
No, she had knit like four sweaters, and every single one of them, I was like, I want this sweater. I
Yeah.
want this sweater. So I'm still thinking about yarn for that. I'm actually leaning towards Volmisa. I have two skeins already of these two, so I could use those as my contrast color,
Hmm.
and like a blue or a gray as the main color. But I'd have to order more Volmisa. Such a hardship.
What a hardship.
But
And
yeah,
speaking of SSK, we had a ring of coupon codes. We
yeah.
do that every year. This year was the first year that I might have used a few of those
I
to
used several of our
distinct
Canadian.
advantage. So yeah, we had some. There were some items that I really had a hard time letting go for door prizes. That I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm just not certain that this needs to leave my hands. So I ended up ordering those things. But yeah, so Saturday was market. We had tons of people come in from the local area.
Which
Um,
was so exciting. We had over 150 people local come
just
in for the
yeah, just for the market, which is great, and it's great for the vendors as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're always happy for them when that happens.
We got to see our buddy Tara Worsterweight, who
Mhm.
comes every year to the market.
Yeah, she.
Mrs. Shu came too, and I missed her.
Oh, I saw Mrs. Shu for a minute. Yeah, and Tara gave us both some really cute gifts that I can.
I got some sun-kissed
Oh,
fruit gems.
here we go. I had it stocked. It's wrinkly. I'm sorry, but it is hilarious, and I love it. So I wanted to give her the due. She. I sublimate my rage through needlework.
That's awesome.
So I have to get it framed and then put it on my wall of stuff. So yeah, we got to see some great folks. Denise, Mad About Matisse, and Jennifer Nerd Girl
Oh.
came down Friday, and we went to a little
Oh, I didn't hear how that went. How did
crappy
your
dive bar.
burger bar go?
Yeah,
I
it
did
was
not
good.
go because I don't eat burgers.
It was good. I stole Amy Beth, and she went as well, and we laughed so hard we
Good.
got headaches. So that's always a good time. But yeah, so Saturday was market, which was busy but fun, and then Saturday night was the goodbye, the
Closing
closing
ceremonies.
ceremonies. Yeah, we had between
So
Scarrett
much.
Bennett donation raffles and door prizes, we had almost 200 things to give away that night.
Hmm.
So much stuff, and we had a hilarious performance on the piano.
Yeah.
Um, God, and I'm blanking on her name.
Joe Sock. Joe
Yes,
Sock.
I'm like I can picture her face. Joe Sock Monster, sang a very funny and touching song for
And
us.
we had drunk Susan and drunk Teresa. Like
This
you
is true. I'm sure
cannot.
they're not going to enjoy being called that publicly. Um, but we do have some absolutely wonderful and hilarious folks that attend, and we're very grateful for that. Um, Closing ceremonies were Saturday night, and then we just chatted and hung out for a while, and
Went and got Jenny's ice cream.
yeah. And then Sunday we hit the road. Oh, I didn't even tell you this, but Sunday. So usually Sunday we'll have breakfast, and then I hit the road
Yeah.
because I have a long drive.
Long drive.
And if I leave by around 8:30, I can usually get home by midnight or 1 in the morning. So um, I was actually so tired. And sometimes this happens on long trips. After a couple of hours, even if I've gotten a full night of sleep, after a couple hours, I start feeling really tired. Usually, after about 20 minutes, it goes away. Like,
Yeah.
I worked through whatever it was. But it was like an hour and it still hadn't gone away. And I was getting to the point where I felt like it was dangerous for me to be driving. So I pulled over somewhere in Tennessee and rented a hotel room and slept for 3 hours and then got back on the road.
Oh.
Like, I just felt like it was dangerous for me to still be driving. So I had to
Yeah.
stop. Um, and anyway, but I did
Well,
get
now
it.
you'll have mom and dad's to stay at if you want.
Yes. So that's
3 hours away,
positive.
so that'll be good. You could have done that then, though, too.
They weren't there though.
Yeah, they were.
Oh.
Wheezy was there.
Yeah. Hi, I know you haven't unpacked boxes yet, but could I sleep on the couch for a few minutes? Anyway.
He would have been totally fine with it. In fact, when we met, they gave you the house code so you could get into their house.
Yeah, Laura and her family were up for their reunion, and so I came and joined them for dinner on Thursday, and got to meet a couple new people in the family that I hadn't
Yeah.
met yet. So
Some of Wheezy's relatives, so that's always fun. You're Wheezy. So SSK is always a blast. We've already started signing, getting teachers under contract for next year. Some of those we've already had under contract before SSK. And we're getting our last few under contracts now. We will, once they're under contracts, we will open vendor signups. And
applications.
yes, applications. And we usually have more vendor applications than we have spots, unfortunately.
And
or
so,
fortunately.
yeah, I wanted to talk on that, and we'll talk more about it again when we open the spots. But we have had some absolutely wonderful people vend in the market, and they've, as far as we know, everyone has always done well. We are going to continue to be innovative and shake up the market and do new and exciting things. So as we continue to do that, we'll have some beloved vendors that will change to different people. So it's not a slight against anyone. It's just that we want to we don't want to be predictable. We want to keep
Yep.
things interesting and do something different each year, so that if you are a person who wants to come every year and the, you know, random number generator loves you, then you're not coming to the same event every year.
Yep.
So, anyway, what
So
else
we will
did you want
take
to talk about?
applications for vendors.
Mm-hmm.
I started a Twitter feed, and now I can't remember what it is, but it's like the Knit Girls SSK, and we'll be posting updates to there, so you can follow that. If you type in the Knit Girls, it'll come up as SSK. Too, in additional to the, we usually tweet it out to the Knit Girls feed as well. And if you follow either Leslie or I on Instagram, I'm Lala Knits there, and she's You Don't Call Me Les.
Mm-hmm.
We also post there usually when the main signups go, in addition to the vendor signups. We'll post when the vendor signups applications begin, and we typically allow a week for people to sign up,
Mm-hmm.
to fill out the form.
Because it's all lottery generated.
Yep.
The SSK attendees are all lottery generated. So.
And we do have a wait list. We automatically, if you do not get in the first round, we automatically put you on the wait list. We do have people drop throughout the year. This year was a lower number than usual, but we still had people drop.
All the way up to the day of. It happens.
Or 2 days into.
Yeah.
It happens. So just, and typically if we get down to like 3 days before and you know that you still can come, if you shoot me a PM, if we do, we've had people drop out the day before the last 2 years. If you'll let me know, then I will try to give you an urgent phone call last minute and say, hey, are you still interested? Because if you're able to come last minute, sometimes things work out that way. Those signups will typically be in September. We wait until we have all our vendors under contract and all our teachers under contract for the announcement, usually. So vendor signups are usually middle to end of, not signups, but applications are middle to end of August. So
yeah, so if you know a vendor who might be interested or who you think would be a good fit at market, make sure that you let them know when we open the signups, or to just follow us on Instagram or Twitter or whatever.
Yep.
Also wanted to note a non-SSK related thing. Blip has decided they don't want to do business anymore, period. They're just going to shut down. I'm not certain what drove that decision, but in all honesty, since they stopped distributing to iTunes and to YouTube, we really don't use them a whole lot anymore anyway. It's gotten to the point where in the past month I've had to do 3 separate uploads, one to YouTube, one to Blip, one to Podcast Garden, which then sends to iTunes, because you don't upload directly to iTunes. You can't. So the middle of August is when Blip is going to shut down. The only place that Blip usually distributes to is to your Roku box, which is a media management system. If you have a Roku box, you can just get a YouTube channel for free. It costs you nothing. Or an iTunes channel for free. It costs you nothing, and watch it that way. There's pretty much no other reason to watch it on Blip, aside from that's what we usually put on the website. So we're going to be moving over to YouTube to have the YouTube link on the website. And I have turned on monetization, which basically means you're going to see a 10 or 15 second ad before the show starts.
That's what you're getting with Blip anyway.
That's why we stuck with Blip, because that helps cover the cost of the website and, you know, the upkeep of...
That way we don't have to beg for donations on a regular basis.
Just bear with us. If you usually watch on the site, the look of it's going to change just a little bit, and the type of commercial that shows at the beginning will change just a little bit. So if that causes you serious butthurt, let me know. Otherwise, that's just the way we're going to go. I'll upload to all 3 places this week, and that's the last time I'm going to upload to all 3 places.
So it'll just be YouTube and iTunes.
Yes, YouTube, iTunes, and then of course I'll tweet out when it goes live, and I'll start the thread on Ravelry like I always do. So.
Oh. Cool beans,
all right,
yo.
so we're at an hour and a half plus, so I think we are good for this week, unless you have anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, No, I don't think so. I hope to see some of you this Friday and Saturday if you're local to this area.
Yeah.
And I'll be back at work full time, so that means no Ravelry for me because it's blocked. So if you are looking to get in contact with me very quickly, your best bet is Laura at TheKnitGirlls.com
Email address.
Yep.
Also, it's my birthday this week. I'm 35 on
That's right.
Wednesday.
Oh,
Yep.
I forgot to say that.
And Mr.
Such a
Awesome's
bad
birthday
friend.
is next week, and he'll be 34.
That's awesome.
So I plan to
Yay.
do nothing but sit home and knit, and that's a great birthday for me.
Are you taking it off? Are you
No.
taking it off? No, you're going to work from home.
I'll probably work from home, but no, I'm not taking it off. So, okay. We're at an hour and a half. I think we should go, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye, y'all.